Hi everyone, I'm Carly. Welcome to the Vision, the podcast. We're so incredibly excited to be here, and I just wanted to tell you a little bit more about the Vision. So we're an organisation who supports communities. Our aim is to support people to be more empowered, and they may feel like they're actually disempowered within their communities. We do so many things that we're going to tell you more about. So I'm incredibly excited to be joined by two amazing people who are a huge part of the Vision. So over to you, Demi, to introduce yourself.
Well, hello, I'm Demi. I am 21. I've been in care since I was 10, and this is an opportunity for me to come out and basically raise awareness to sort of things that people may be going through. Something that I'm really passionate about is talking about communication and support. So that's something that I am really, really passionate about doing. So I am so excited to be doing this podcast today.
Thanks, Demi. So over to you, Josh. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Josh. I'm a full-time support worker and I've been an associate of the Vision now for a couple of years. Like Demi, I was care experienced and I experienced some of the difficulties that life throws your way. And with that support of the community, I was able to overcome that and be here today on this podcast. So it's very exciting to be here. With both of you, and we're going to have more guests in the future, so it's going to be really exciting to see what we're going to be talking about.
Amazing. See where we go next, isn't it?
Thanks, guys. So just to give you a little bit more of an in-depth insight to the Vision. So basically, the idea behind the Vision was everybody in life has different experiences, different lived experiences, different lenses. And we said, actually, how do we incorporate all of those different lenses to make a difference? Because my background is being a social worker and I've worked within children's social care for quite a while now. And I was in positions where I was supporting teams and supporting different organisations to maybe improve things. And actually, I felt that real important social responsibility to make a difference in relation to particularly care experienced children and young people, because we know some of the statistics out there are quite poor in relation to some care experienced children and young people. Not everybody, but actually in a position where some young people may struggle with their mental health, may struggle in terms of experiencing custody, may struggle in terms of financial situations, and actually that social responsibility for us all to come together to make a difference. So that's where the Vision was born. It was about approaching different people with different experiences, and like Josh and Demi have just explained, we're in a position where actually they've got their own lived experiences, and how do we incorporate all of those things from a social worker to a therapist to somebody with lived experience to make a difference, which we do all of the time. So today, the reason why we've come today to meet with you guys was about actually this month is Care Experienced Celebration Month. So some may call it Care Leavers Month, but actually we want to try and come away from that label, because again there's a lot of labels thrown around. So this month is about celebrating children, celebrating young people, celebrating adults, and celebrating a community linked to being care experienced. We're saying this word, but actually some people might not even know what that means. So I was going to hand you over to Demi to actually kind of talk a little bit about what does being care experienced mean, Dem?
I feel like it means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. Mm-hmm. I feel like being care experienced, it's quite a stereotypical word, being care experienced. I feel like people imagine you having 4 heads and 11 arms and 12 eyes, and because you've grown up somewhere separate. And I think for me, being care experienced is just having additional experience to other people, things that I've used to sort of put into my real life sort of practically, really. And I think a lot of the experiences that I have experienced, a lot of experience, I think it's helped me build confidence. It's helped me meet new people. I've spoken and sort of communicated with loads of different people. I think being care experienced is something that can be really daunting for some people. I think some people can really struggle with just understanding that that's what they are, their experience, they're in care and they're not with family, and that is a really touchy subject, and obviously there's not a lot of people that are educated on it. So and I feel like it is really important for us to spread this little bit of a message of, well, we're not aliens, you know, we're the same as everybody else. And I think that's something that I really, really stand by, really.
100%. And actually, Dem, you've just said that it's just a different set of experience.
Yeah.
And to kind of simplify things actually for people who have no idea what that means. So for children and young people who may be involved with children's services or social services, actually that means that they may have a social worker, their families may need a bit of an additional support. And sometimes it gets to a point where a court or a judge may make a decision that children and young people can't live with their birth family for whatever reason. So Demi and Josh have both talked about that was their experiences, and we want to celebrate those things in terms of actually that doesn't mean that it's a whole of you, it's a part of you. And Josh, I want to come over to you about that, because actually being co-experiences is a part of you, but it's not the whole of you. So I don't know if you want to talk about what that means for you.
Yeah, 100%. I think with me, I think there was a time in my life where I needed more support than other times. And care experience for me is that even though we're all care experienced, we've all got different experiences through whatever. We might have been with a foster family, we might have lived our own with parents or a nan, we might have been in a residential home, and everybody has got different experiences. So bringing this community together to talk about the good and the bad is really important to making those changes, and I feel like that's what the Vision has done really for the care experience community in St Helens. It brought us together
100%.
and highlight what's positive, what's negative, and make those changes. And again, like you said, the Vision's about empowering. So I feel like you gave not just me, but Demi, everyone else who's involved, all the young people that we support, you gave them the voice to be able to use that and make the difference.
We talked in the car about actually being co-experienced, and Demi, you talked about a situation in terms of a friend saying, actually, you're really normal. And this felt really odd.
You cheeky beggar. No, because for me, it was like when people, like, this is what I was going to say, everybody in this whole world has experienced something, whether that's trauma, whether that's something that's happened in the early lives, whatever it is, people have experienced something. And I think I find it really difficult that we have been like sort of split up into these, you're the child in care or you're just a child that lives with parents. For me, it's not that. I think we all have our own experience, something that we could share with each other. And I think that's what, when someone said to me, they was like, do you know what, Demi, you've been through some stuff, but you're quite normal, aren't you? And I thought,
yeah, can I comment on that?
You can, because for me, it felt really nice though. It was like, oh, I'm normal. Like, right. So like you've painted this nice picture of me, but really, that shouldn't have ever been a conversation. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah, but like, I feel
Josh.
like when people are out to say as well, you've been through so much, but I know people who are not care experienced and they've been through more than what I've been through, and they're dealing with as much as what I've dealt with. So I feel quite privileged to have the support which I had, which I know some other people didn't have the access to that support. So
100%.
I think we've got a good support network around us, especially the care experience community. I think it's getting a lot stronger.
Yeah, definitely.
And we said it, when we were chatting earlier, we talked about actually being in a position where there's a side where actually we need to recognise that being care experience is a part of you, but also, and that, like you said, Demi, people want to be recognised. I'm normal, I've not got 4 heads, I've not got this, I've not got that. But there's also a side where actually communities and individuals need to recognise that sometimes in life we need that little bit of extra support for whatever reason. And actually, because when we think about children and young people who have come into care and been looked after by their local authorities or the government, that's not their fault. And actually, when we see that child struggling with their mental health or struggling with criminality, people being a bit curious and digging deep to say, how can I support that one person, or how can I support that group of children or
and
young
that's
people?
what I think we speak a lot about this, really, don't we, of the amount of times we'll see that kids are all out and they're all causing trouble or whatever, they're doing this and they're doing that, and I think it's because they're not focusing at the right point. They're focusing on the behaviour, but they're not focusing on what happened before that, the thought, the feeling, what got them to that stage in the first place. And I think for me, I find that really stressful, because if the amount of children that we've come into contact with, and when we sit and speak to them on that deeper level, they're so intellectual, they're so clever, and they have so much understanding of their own emotions, but they just don't have that one safe person to sit and have that conversation with. And I think being care experienced has got so many different levels to it. I think for me in the very beginning, when I very first came into care, I hated it, the idea of it. I think it was just the label of it, I'm in care. But then the more I got that little bit older, I started realising, well, I'm not just in care. These people are looking after me. They're taking me to appointments. I'm going to things. I'm being given opportunities. And that's something that we speak a lot about, of people having the right opportunities, whether that's going swimming or horse riding, whatever. Sometimes there's parents that can't afford them type of things. And I see it as, well, I'm bloody lucky that I was managed to be put in the situation where someone's actually out there looking for me. And I think I didn't really see it like that for a long time. It took me a while to feel like that.
And again, it's going back to that privilege. So, like, you probably had some experiences from being care experience, what other children and young people may have not had.
Yeah.
I love that you're labelling it that way, Josh, of actually kind of sometimes when maybe we need to reflect about this, because we talk about actually people who feel disempowered, but you're flipping it on its head in terms of actually a privilege and actually being grateful for some of these things that you've had the people around you. And obviously all of the time we talk about actually let's not end up in a situation where we feel like we're in a bit of a pity party of actually this has happened to me. Let's flip that. Anybody has got that superpower, and as a community we can support people to grow and develop. And
100%. And I'm grateful for being care experience, because I don't think I would be where I am right now today without the life, the journey that I went on. I don't think I would be sat here right now. And it's sad for the reasons why obviously I became care experience, but again, that's part of what the vision is trying to change. We're trying to change everything we can to make a better community for children and young people, and bring those numbers and statistics down for care experience. Obviously we all need support, like you said before, but can we get
in a different way?
Can we get in there early? But we know early intervention happens. But what more could we do as a community
100%.
to come together to support everybody who is struggling with these social issues that we see every day, whether that's drugs, whether that's exploitation, whether that's mental health, whether that's
definitely
low income.
Josh, can I bring you something to that then? Because actually you said about supporting everybody, and we want to do more, and we are doing more in terms of some of the work that we're doing with parents at the minute to support them to understand some of those experiences that children and young people have. And actually let's focus then, because you talk a lot and so well about the power of communities. I don't know if you want to talk about kind of what that means to you.
So for me, power of community means a lot to me, because for me, I was involved in criminal exploitation, and I found my sense of belonging in that community, even though it was a negative community. These people were there at one of my most difficult times, and despite the things that we were doing were negative, that's what I was exposed to at the time. But to get away from that lifestyle, I was given that opportunity to become part of a different community, division. And that's helped me so much. That's helped me with my confidence. That's helped me overcome anxiety. I remember the first time Carly asked me to go and talk in front of 500 people. And
Crazy, wasn't it?
I was absolutely petrified. I was shaking. And I stood up there and I told my story. And there was all these professionals looking at me. And I was like, I could see this community in front of me. And I was like, who are these people? What do they do? I was so intrigued into like, what, where was I talking? What was it?
Yeah.
100%.
Like, so from there, I started thinking a bit differently around, like, can I do more of this? Can I get more involved in the community? Because I wanted to get away from that lifestyle that I was living beforehand. So, yeah, I became part of that community. I made new friends. Like, I went to your wedding. Like,
100%.
You know what I mean? I wouldn't have had that
Literally.
opportunity. That was a really special
Honestly,
moment.
that was I think that was like one of the biggest things that brought us all together. But not just that. I think we speak a lot about this power imbalance and the professionals, and then we're this and we're that. But we are very much professionals in our own experience,
100%.
and that's something that we speak about all the time.
Yeah.
And I think with that though, I don't know how to explain it, but I wouldn't say you've brought yourself down a notch, but we're all on this same level now where it genuinely felt like we was in the right place. I could not have imagined not going to your wedding. And
100%.
these are little things that, like, I don't know, like, for me, and this is something that we've mentioned, is the identity thing of not knowing where we are,
Yeah.
who we come from. And sometimes we feel like we're going to end up like our parents, we're going to end up like this, we're going to end up like that, when realistically, no, we can use the experiences that we've had to help mould us to who we're going to be in the future. And I think we speak a lot around that, and I think that's something that over time we've all created that confidence, we've all created
100%.
that little bit of that sense of belonging, like you mentioned. And I think that's something that we really struggled in having, because I think this, in the time when you're going through the experience of going through care and stuff, you feel like you're the only one, don't
Yeah,
you?
you do.
You feel like you're the only one that's there, nobody else knows you.
So I used to say it felt like I was on the outside of the house looking through the window watching everybody, and that's how I always singled myself out, and I don't know why that is. Maybe it is because
But I feel like that is part of what you say, which I think really helps me, is when you truthfully turn around and like, Demi, you're going in a pity party. To
Let's
me,
get
then,
out.
it's so true though, because I'm sitting there going, nobody likes me, I've got no friends, I've got da-da-da-da-da-da. And realistically, that's got nothing to do with me being care experienced. I am throwing myself a pity party. Get over myself right now and like just crack on. And and we do though, but it takes someone that person to support you, whoever that strong adult is, whoever. It could be a friend, it doesn't matter.
100%,
Someone that's like pulling you out of that little hole that you're putting yourself in, and that's something that I do quite regularly. But that's because I feel like that's like a defence mechanism of things are getting too much, don't know what to do with myself. 1 minute, let me put myself in this big fat hole and I'm not getting out of it, and now I'm in this rut and I don't know how to get out. And then I get somebody going, Demi, that pity party's going again. And I'm like, okay.
Get
like,
your party hat off.
I know,
Get it off.
Well, you put disco on then and we'll go there instead. Like, but there are things that I think creating that community around us where we feel like if we was in that low, we've got somewhere we can go
it's
to.
understanding yourself though.
Yeah.
Isn't it understanding how your own brain works? And we know our brain can be our worst enemy sometimes.
It's crazy, innit?
And actually think about one of the activities that we do around, you don't need everybody else to rescue you. No. Actually, when Josh has just said then, in terms of understanding yourself, you are your own rescuer, and actually that's what we want to teach everybody. And sometimes like we're all cruel to be kind with each other, of actually no, like the point of empowerment is empower yourself. You don't need to be rescued all the time.
I think from my experience, I went through a lot of difficulties when I was homeless and I got my first home because I really struggled, you know what I mean? So I learnt the hard way.
Well,
do you know what I mean? I had to get into debt. I had to struggle with addiction.
Yeah, but why is that though? Is it because because this is me as well? You think you know the most, don't you? And you will not listen to anybody. You will sit there and you think, I know better. Don't tell me nothing. Then you've got to learn from your mistakes.
I was rebelling.
Yeah.
From.
Bit of control though, Josh, as well.
Yeah,
with that sense of control, I can do what I want. I've got my first house now. You're not going to tell me what to do. And
you chose your house. You wasn't told that you have to move in with somebody that you don't know.
I mean, I was advised to go into supported accommodation. I got told, you don't know how to cook. You don't know how to do your laundry. You don't know how to pay your bills.
100%.
All these things. I was like, yeah, I can. What do you want about?
Whatever.
I'll be sound. What do you mean? Literally a couple of months later, I wasn't eating properly. I weren't looking after myself. My laundry was just piling up. I was in debt with all my bills, and because I wanted that choice to be
100%.
to be
control when actually things feel like they're falling around you.
But then, despite at that time, that was all awful for me. And it got to me in the end because I knew I weren't looking after myself. But now I look after myself. Yeah. I went through that hard time to learn the hard way.
But Josh, picking on that in terms of actually thinking about, it's not just you looking after yourself, it's you recognising your own self-worth to say, I deserve something better. And actually, where we were saying, there's plenty of children and young people and adults who don't always feel like they've got that network or don't always feel like they're worthy. Yeah. If I ask you both a question in terms of actually, if there are children or young people or adults listening to this, in terms of maybe a little bit of advice of, if there's somebody thinking that they have nobody around them, what would your best advice be in terms of how to create that positive network?
I mean, I've been in that situation before where I felt like I had nobody, and my advice would be is to start making those connections, even though it's scary. Putting yourself out there, join new groups, new activities. You might get into employment, you can make friends there, and sometimes you might feel like you're the odd one out in the group. But like I said before, our brain can play tricks on us.
100%.
So start building those connections in the community, start volunteering, getting involved, being part of it. And I think that's the issue, to obviously isolation.
Take that brave step that feels really scary.
Yeah, definitely. I was going to say, and think one thing is, I always do it. Oh, I'll start on Monday, or I'll do such thing. I'll do it then, and but then doing that, I think, creates that anxiety in yourself. You think, oh my God, then I've got to have to text this person, and I do it myself. I really struggle with keeping connections and texting people and keeping people in the loop, and I think.
But do you feel like that's only you? Because
so with that,
I'm sure
I do it all
like
the time.
Like,
though.
I forgot to text.
Yeah, but then
whoever.
I'll get a text message and I'll go, I'll reply to them now. Oh wait, I don't know what I'm saying. I'll do it in a minute. But I think some of this, and it comes into traits. I don't know whether it's anything to do with the ADHD side of it, but that can come with traits of like trauma as well. Sometimes that like, do I text them? If I don't text them right now, then they're gonna fall out with me. Or if I think, I'll wait half an hour, because if I text them too quick, they're gonna think that's a bit weird. But then really that's just me overthinking it, and you don't need to do that.
100%.
It took a long time for me. I think just don't think. That's something. When you think too much about it, that's when you end up putting yourself in that loop, that spiral of you're stuck in your own brain, and you're not the only person validating yourself. Is yourself.
Exactly.
So you're not. You might feel a certain way. It might not be the right way that you're feeling, but if you don't express that to anybody, no one can tell you whether you're right or wrong. And sometimes it could be, you're overreacting. Chill out. Like, it could be this, it could be that, whatever. But you're never giving somebody else that opportunity to validate you or to make yourself feel better in any way if you're not going out of your way to explain it to people.
And sometimes if you've had years around kind of your self-esteem being battered, or you've had a lot of rejection in your life, it feels safer to validate yourself with those negative thoughts as opposed to actually reaching out to somebody and hearing something different. And we talk a lot about this in terms of like your internal working model. We say like your little internal computer. We all have those buttons that we press that are those self-sabotage buttons, those buttons where it's like, actually, I don't believe in myself, and they are going to fall out with me, so I might as well press the button anyway if not texting them back. And that grows, doesn't it? Those negative thoughts can grow and breed.
And I do in some of the talks that I do. And I talk about like it takes time to get away from that mindset of because when I used to end up in like a negative mindset or was a bit upset, it then spiral.
Yeah, it does.
I'd think about every negative thing
to validate the last negative thing you were thinking about.
Keeps spiraling, and I'd end up in this episode of
your pity party.
Yeah,
you end up in your pity party.
And at that
That's
time,
what happens.
I had no one pulling
with
me
the little
out that pity.
You're fully like that.
I had no one pulling me out of that pity party. So, but it takes time to get away from that mindset, and I teach some of the young kids now, don't I, about talking into the mirror and being like, I am good,
Positive
I'm the
self-talk.
boss, I'm going to smash the day. Do you know what, I'm actually going to smash it.
And you do.
And that works for me every day, is I get up and I talk to myself in a positive way.
I love it.
I'm going to smash it, and then the next minute it might.
And people don't need to know you're doing it though either, do they? Like, you might think, it's a bit embarrassing doing that, but you can fully just go and do it, take yourself off.
If I'm in my house,
who's going to say anything?
Doing positive self-talk, who's going to know?
Get out of my house, no negative, mate. I'm not having none of that.
To be honest, I reckon I could walk down the street and do it. I don't think anyone would care.
No.
Everyone's in their own little
Put your
bubble.
earphones in, and all you need to do is just have a little mumble to yourself.
Yeah,
like,
or recently Carly's just been sending me loads of Spotify podcasts.
loads of podcasts.
100%.
So
Just that growth though, isn't it?
Yeah.
If I asked you then, in terms of obviously people that are maybe listening today might not know about all of the things that we do, can you guys talk about some of the things that you really enjoy doing in terms of actually some of the projects that we do, some of the opportunities that we are given to support others, whether that's a case of going into a children's home and delivering training, whether that's a case of being around children and young people.
Go for it, yeah.
Can I start?
Go for
And then we'll do one each.
I know what he's going to say, so if I'd have said it first, he'd have took mine.
Go on.
It'll be a while, so just bear with us. We've got a lot to get through.
Go on.
So yeah, I'll start with the Inner Spark men's programme.
Oh no, I didn't.
No.
Oh,
Never mind. I was going to say something else, sorry.
Demi interrupted me.
Oh no, sorry.
We have to manage this very carefully, guys.
Yeah, so the Inner Spark men's programme started, would you say 2 years ago, or?
Yeah.
It's been a while though, hasn't it?
It must be just over 2 years now, I think.
And this programme was introduced to support the unaccompanied children and young people.
Josh, people might not know what that is, so you kind of explain that.
We've got asylum seekers and refugees, so we've got separated young people who've been on horrendous journeys, to obviously get to safety. And we went into the hotel originally to support the young people and listen to the stories and provide activities to support with the mental health, because some of them were really struggling. And at that time we had the protests. A lot of them were very scared. They didn't want to go out in the communities and they were fearing for their life. So we went in there and we showed them the vision. We showed them the vision.
Literally.
We provided that support. We had an understanding, we had an empathy. We were the people there to actually get to know them, get to know where they came from, get to listen to their story, their background, and actually be there for them, because they felt lonely. They've been through a lot, and when you understand and listen to all the different stories, it's really hard as a human not to have that empathy.
Josh, can I ask you then, in terms of, we know that our area that we're from isn't very ethnically diverse, as in there's a lot of people who are white British. As a young person living in that area, what impact did that have on you in terms of being around people from different cultures and different countries?
It was massive on me. I didn't grow up with any diverse friends. My group weren't really diverse. It was all, like you said, white British kids when I grew up in school. So for me, I got to learn about different cultures, different languages, and I went at the centre, self-centered, like I'm the like white English person. Like I got to learn about the world, learn different languages. And in my role as a support worker, we've looked after different young people from different backgrounds, from different countries, and just being able to learn about the different things that are going on in the world.
Do you feel like it just kicks you into reality a little bit?
Yeah,
as in, like,
100%.
puts us into perspective of how lucky we are and how much the things that we haven't had to see or things that we've been through, but it's not even about comparing. Nobody's experience is greater or worse than anybody else's.
It's about understanding, empowering each other.
But that we've all been through something.
Yeah, and again, it links back to the care experience community. Everyone, not just in this country, in this world, has been through traumatic events. They've been through horrible things, and we all need to empower each other, come together to make that change. And without that, it's not going to change. And what we can see now is that everyone is a bit fed up and a bit angry. I'm not going to go into that a bit too much, but what the vision is doing is bringing people together to have that understanding, empathy, to empower, to not to discriminate or judge people because of the colour of the skin, but to be there to be the person. Like you was for me and Demi when we were younger. You were there for us, you listened to us, you believed in us, you empowered us to and gave us those opportunities to go on and succeed. But and that's exactly what we've done at the Inner Spark Men's Programme.
100%. And there was a moment, Josh, that Ashley, who works with us, who's another social worker, and she's also a therapist, there was a particular young person who we were supporting at the time, and he'd been through something horrendous, where his journey was horrendous in terms of his experiences in his country, and he'd had to flee that country because of war. And then when he arrived in the particular area where we were working, he'd experienced something where he'd been assaulted by young people for just the fact that he was from another country. So this person was really fearful around being around others. And actually, when you arrived as a young male into the group and you were from the local area, that relationship blossomed in terms of, actually, not everybody's here that's going to hurt me, and not everybody is here in terms of that's negative. And the power of that was just so lovely, because exactly what you said, we are the same age, we've just had different experiences. We're two human beings, and that was just incredible in terms of that moment and you working together as that group, and it's just blossomed. And I just want you to touch upon as well, Josh, in terms of, like you said, so you said that group was initially for separated young people, so that means young people who are under the age of 18 who've arrived in the UK with no parents or no family. So actually the social workers look after them in terms of they need parents. So we've supported young people to have that family and that network in terms of some of our groups. But what we did do recently was we integrated that group in relation to actually just a group to work on social and emotional skills for males who are co-experienced. So males who've got a social worker or a personal advisor who is somebody who supports young people when they get over the age of 18. Doesn't matter what country you're from. But we were quite anxious about that initially, in terms of how would the communities all integrate, would we experience any hate crime, and just your reflections on that.
I think, do you know what, right to have that worry, especially with
Yeah.
everything going on at the minute. But
Yeah.
we were shocked with
Amazed.
like all the
Literally
young
amazed.
people coming together, and both supporting each other, they're chatting away, they're learning about each other, and what a thing to see.
Just
And
amazing.
it just shows that we've got a bright future ahead of
Yeah.
us, and these young people can make that difference.
100%.
Um,
And we've got young people in the group, young males who have experienced criminal exploitation, who have experienced significant amounts of trauma. And actually exactly that of we're humans in a room empowering each other.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
would never probably experience those young people coming together day to day, but actually having that setup where you've got young people saying, this is their first week in this country, they're terrified, they've been through so much, and you've got a young lad who is in a position where he's lived in St Helens since they were born,
Yeah.
putting their arm around them and just supporting them
Yeah.
and being
Or
that person.
down
They've got that like upper hand then basically, haven't they? To
100%.
then they've got knowledge, spread that knowledge, whatever it is that
Definitely.
you have. And I think that's something that we talk about a lot, isn't it? Of sharing what we know. And
Definitely.
I think, because I think it's selfish. If you know something, don't share
Yeah.
something. It's selfish, that is, I think.
Definitely.
Yeah. It is.
100%.
But like some of the activities we've done is like ice skating. That was hilarious because that was the first time.
Bambi on ice.
That was the first time some of them ever been on ice.
Yeah.
So everyone was
Oh.
falling over, and it was and just seeing everyone laughing
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
amazing. So that was really good. We done rollerblading,
Yeah.
go-kart, and we done stuff around emotional
Definitely.
well-being, teaching different strategies around how to deal with your own emotions. Because
Yeah.
of course, when the group is every 2 weeks, so when they go back, when they go home from
Yeah.
the group, they've got to deal with those emotions still.
Definitely.
I haven't been in contact with my parents for a long time. I don't know
Yeah.
where they are because
Where they are,
they've had to
yeah.
run to a different country, and some of the experience they're going through is really hard. So teaching them about different strategies
Definitely.
is a tool that they can use again to support themselves, and keep themselves safe as well.
100%. And what's lovely, we've got the WhatsApp group, and actually there's young people who, one young person, the first young person at the group, he now lives in Scotland, and actually still in the WhatsApp group. Obviously he can't physically get to the
No.
group,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
him
It'll take
the
him a
other
while.
week, him the other week saying this was the first place that actually I felt safe, and I'm doing incredible now. And just growing that network for each other, just supporting and smiling and kind of
And
breaking
bringing
down those barriers.
obviously the group into with the care leavers was
Yeah.
really important for integration.
100%.
And we talk about this a lot, don't we, around integration, and that's not just for asylum seekers or
No.
refugees. That's for
Everybody.
people who are isolated in their own home.
Yeah.
Definitely.
We lack integration. And we
I
know-
think a lot of it, I speak a lot about this, it's COVID. I think since COVID, it's been really, really difficult for people to come back into the community and to... It's been really difficult for people to get themselves out of that bedroom or get yourself out the living room because,
100%.
like, for me, when I was in Kerr, I was still in Kerr during COVID, and all contact with family stopped. Contact, by the way, because I feel like that's something that people call, and it's so, like, institutionalised, but seeing family and stuff and my brothers and things, and the things that completely stopped, and I really, really struggled with that. And I think what do they call them now? The kids that are in COVID and they were born during COVID, and now they're all obsessed with iPads, and I think everyone's stuck on
Yeah.
their phones and stuff. And I don't think a lot of people now have that where they actually communicate with people in person. I think go out and play on the park, lad. Like why are you sitting there like keyboard warrior over the phone? Like there are things that I really really struggle with because I think the lack of human interaction is the reason that we have a really deep struggle of people integrating because people don't know how to talk to people anymore. People don't know how to communicate.
Yeah, and it's that
communicate face to
anxiety in
face.
it of I can't go in that boxing gym and speak to them because I
Yeah.
don't know who they are. I don't
In
know.
it, I can't go to the gym for the first time on my own because I'm scared in case someone looks at me. What? I mean, walk
Yeah.
past people in the street all the time. What's the worry about? And I
Yeah.
think
But that's some of the realities that we're dealing with in terms of actually when we're working with younger children and young people, as in teenagers.
Yeah.
Some of those things about actually, let me just hold your hand through this moment. You have to physically hold it, but actually, how do we
No,
work on
yeah.
some of those
There.
strategies and kind of look on that?
and then growing those social skills.
Definitely.
And being able to be alone and do things alone.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I feel like I
Really
went
good
for
point,
a brekkie
Josh.
on my own the other day and I was like, I really enjoyed it.
I
And
love it.
do you see those people
Yeah.
who are like solo travelling?
Yeah.
I'm like, how do you do that?
sitting in
But
your own
Josh, you would
company.
never have done that a while ago
No.
in terms
No,
of sitting
no.
in your own and actually
No.
being yourself. And you're around young people now who sometimes they're looking at you, and actually some young people are seeing you as a role model, and some young people are like, I don't know how to take you because you're doing something different.
Yeah.
You're dressed in the tracking, you're talking like me, but you're being different.
yeah.
But actually, it's kind of challenging those things to say you can be your own person.
Yeah.
And we talked about that, didn't we, in terms of your
100%.
identity?
I've been able to relate to these young people because, again, I'm in my Nike tracking. I had me Paddy the Baddy haircut last month. I've got it trimmed just for the podcast. But yeah, they can relate and some of their experiences, I've been through a lot of my own experiences, but I can relate to them as well. And again, they're having their own experience, but I think when you can get that connection with someone, you can make a massive difference.
Definitely.
And I have struggled with people who I haven't had the same experiences with, and I've struggled to understand their experiences, which is okay, but then you've got to utilise other resources, people around you.
But it's that what you just said, utilising other resources. That in itself, I think, is something that people forget. Obviously, I know that I hate but it is a profession. When you're going into a caring environment, as in like not as the child in care, but as the person being the carer or the foster carer, whatever, they're in that professional environment, so they should then be being professionally curious, going out and having a little look at what's available in the community or what kind of I don't know, do you know what I mean, like seeing what kids are up to nowadays. And I think people really struggle with bringing the kids back home. Come in and have tea or something. Let's get in the back garden, we'll have a bonfire or something. Little things like that.
And that's just
keep
the way
these close together.
Society's gone, and sometimes kids want to just be outside.
I know, and
with
it's
their
letting the
mates.
kids run the show, and I think it can be so easy to do that. But
do you
also
know,
they don't know what they're doing, do they?
Can I challenge you both on, Josh,
Yeah.
you've just then said in terms of actually, I struggle sometimes around other people's experiences and actually tapping into other resources. But I think what you both do so well, and we all do as a network, is I'm different from you in lots of ways, but actually let me just listen and learn and be curious about you as a person.
100%.
Do you know what I mean? And you do that.
Person. I've learned
Definitely.
so much from being part of the Vision and the support worker.
Yeah.
And I've listened to everyone's experiences, and I think it's helped my development a lot.
100%.
Especially in my
I think
role.
every morning you wake up and you think, wow, like
what
you've
have I
woke
learned
up.
today?
Yeah.
And
I
what-
think you've
Yeah.
woken up. You know you're gonna go out and you're gonna either meet somebody new or you meet somebody again that you've already met and see how far they've got in life. And there's like so many different experiences, and I think it makes you feel really privileged for the things that you have experienced, whether that's negative or positive, because that's made you who you are now. But it also isn't exactly who you are. You can be whoever you want to be. You can be the next best thing if you want to be. You just got to put your head in the game and make it happen, haven't you?
You've got to get up each day
In a positive mindset.
and smash that day, just one day at a time.
It can be difficult to do that as well, can't it? It can feel like the whole world's like literally on you.
If you wake up and you start off with a bad day, it can be really hard for the rest of the day. But
what can you do on a night time to prepare for the next day, to make it a good day? How can you have your clothes ready on a night time so that when you wake up you're not stressing about running around finding clothes?
What's some of your strategies though to staying positive?
My favourite thing is in the morning music. Music in the morning, because if I'm waking up and I'm tired but I've got a little bit of music on, well then another song comes on and then I'm in a bit more of a bit of mood or whatever, like, and then it just keeps going.
But
like.
even in that, 100%.
Go on,
as
what
in,
do you do?
that when you are having that bad day, tell myself it isn't going to last forever, as in it will pass. And actually then tell myself that when I have some of those really difficult days, that it makes me stronger sitting in it, because I think as a society, sometimes we will lean to shove all that chocolate in my face or grab that glass of wine, or for some children might go missing, or they may like just block everything out. Actually, when you sit in it, is in whatever those emotions are, and think, no, I'm meant to have these days where actually it's testing me and then they pass. And we talk about this a lot when Demi's struggling, of actually kind of, it will pass, tomorrow's a new day, let's focus on what we can do. And I always use your quote against you when she always says to me, make today better than yesterday.
Make yesterday better than today and tomorrow better than... No, what is it? Make yesterday better than...
Make today better than yesterday and then make tomorrow better than today.
Is it? I don't know. I can't remember what
so
I said.
actually, like, that whole mindset of being the day, but also being in the moment. How many times do we panic about what it is in the future that we need to flap about, or actually what we've not done in the past, and just having those moments?
But as well as feel those emotions.
Yeah.
You know
And
what I mean?
recognise what they are as well. Because I think sometimes we'll feel something, and because we're worried about what the feeling is, we, like you said, block it out. But also recognise, oh, am I feeling sad now? Or is it anger? Because to me, and it did a lot, when I was younger, all of my emotions come out in anger, like all of it. Because I felt really overwhelmed with feeling sad or something. And for me, growing up, it was like we didn't cry. So crying wasn't a thing for me, but then when I started to do it, I was like, oh, now I feel better after it. But like I didn't realise that that's what it was supposed to do.
What's
but like
that release?
But having to sit in it, you've no choice but to feel it. But it's not a negative. It might be a negative emotion that you're feeling, but at the outcome of it, you're like, right, okay, that's what that feels like. So next time, I know I can handle it a little bit differently by doing such a thing, or like just being aware of what that emotion looks like, because I think that's really difficult. I think that's really hard.
Dem, can I ask you the question then, in terms of Josh spoke about the Inner Spark men's group?
Yeah.
Actually, what's some of the things that you feel like you do in your role around kind of making a difference and thinking about some of the children and young people that we support? How's it made a difference to them, but also made a difference to you?
I know. I feel like there's a few things that we've done that I've really, really enjoyed. I think going out into some of the schools, and when we've done some group work with the children and with the teachers, to me, I really, really, really liked that, because I felt like working with the school and working with the kids, them seeing that we're all being vulnerable and we've all got things we need to learn, and there's an activity that we do about the inside and the outside, and I think that in itself is really, really powerful. What do we show to people on the outside? That could be dead bright, dead bubbly, dead happy, whatever, but really on the inside, how are you actually feeling? Has a pet passed away that morning and you've had to come to work with a big great face on and doing this, that and the other, and then you go home and you feel like utterly awful. I think they're things that have really helped me, because speaking to the children about things, they're coming to me, and I might not, it feels like a therapy session, but it's not a therapy session.
100%
because
does.
the kids will just come in and they'll be chatting to you about the day, like, oh, I've seen such a body, I've seen my dad, I've done this, I've done that, and listening to them and how they felt helps me translate how I might have felt in them situations in the past. And I'm like, right, okay. And then my favourite thing at the minute is the Inner Spark Outer Voice group, when all the children come together like every 2 weeks, the youngers and the olds, and we have like wellness days, we have days where it's just fun, and we've just done a Halloween one, all the kids like carved pumpkins, but doing that, I think, because they come back each week, you see like a progression in them each week as well. And you see them like changing, or some become like a little bit more confident, some are like a little bit more cheeky, sometimes they come in, they're dead quiet, like, and then eventually over time they're running in and jumping on me for hugs, or like, and they're things that I really, really love, because I feel like there's an outcome, and that's the bit that we really, it's a bit selfish really, but everybody needs an outcome of something, whether that's, I don't know, you need to see.
Like,
I don't think it is
like an
selfish,
outlet.
Yeah.
No, like if you're working for something, you're working hard for something, you're really enjoying it and stuff, you don't want to do it without getting something out of it. But
As in
like
seeing people's growth and seeing
so
that
like
kind of
I'm not physically
journey.
getting anything.
Yeah.
They're not giving me doing this and doing that. But when they come back and they give me that hug, I'm like, oh,
I've
like,
got that connection and that relationship.
But that might have been a connection I've never had before when I was younger. Nobody
Yeah.
might not have had that connection with me, so it's nice for me to know I've had that connection with somebody else. I don't know.
And you mentioned before, like, you've learned a lot from it, and I feel like I can relate to that. Whereas, like, I went to therapy as part of the, like, that's what the division offers to care experience associates. And I've learned more. Nothing against the therapy, but I've learned more and understood more about my life from working with children.
Being around
I think
different
I think it's about hearing other people's like what they're going through, and like even like little day-to-day things of somebody else that works alongside us locked himself out of his flat about 4 or 5 times. This I honestly
the first day he rang me.
Yeah. I don't know how he does it.
I've already locked myself out of my flat.
Just moved in.
Yeah, but in this though, and this is what I mean, like he's obviously only just turned 18, but I honestly love him so much, because I feel like you can see that he was really, really quiet, wasn't he? And then now he's got this like amazing
Aura.
Like aura, he's dead confidence and stuff, isn't he? And that's something that I really, really feel like that's what I like to see when we finish at the vision and stuff.
And just to kind of focus on, obviously, the Inner Spark Out of Voice group. So the Inner Spark, one of our other associates named it as that, in terms of it's about finding your inner spark.
Yeah.
So actually not just sitting down to say you're going into therapy or you're going into a group. It's about finding your inner spark, but particularly that group is about kind of having an outer voice. So that group is for care experienced children, young people in our area, and actually having that voice to make a change individually, to make a change for communities, and for us in terms of having that support from our local authority, which is St Helens, is massive. And actually having those opportunities for people to believe in what we do has really changed things, because now we've been delivering workshops nationally in terms of up and down the country, being asked to go and do presentations with Ofsted at the Northwest kind of remit days. Going to all of these things has just been incredible, and actually going to the National Leaving Care Benchmarking Forum with every local authority presenting, and hopefully you guys are going to meet Mustafa, but Mustafa is part of the vision, and he came to the country again as a minor, didn't have any family, delivering presentations in English when he couldn't speak a word of English in front of hundreds of people. Those are the moments that are golden. I suppose just to kind of wrap things up with us, what are some of those kind of messages and takeaways? So we're thinking about this podcast is about celebrating care experience people, the community, because it is Care Experience Month in November. What would just give me one thing that you think people, individuals, someone in a shop, someone answering a phone, somebody, a friend, a neighbour, what could they do in terms of making a difference to care experience people? If I go to Demi first and then over to Josh.
I feel like just being open-minded, being aware that people are going through things, doesn't matter what it is. So I feel like just a nice little smile, ask someone how they're doing, being available. Because, I mean, if you're working in a shop, you're not moving from behind that counter, are you? So just ask someone how they are if they're buying sweets from you. Like, things like that. I think it brightens someone's day up. Just a little bit of a conversation just to sort of feed into the day type thing.
100%. Josh, what about you?
I'm overthinking now because I'm getting like a few different thoughts. I'm trying to think.
Can I go then and then come to you? Is that all right?
Yeah.
So I think similar to what you're saying, Dan, but be curious of actually, you don't know who is on the other end of the phone. And this goes for not just the care experience community. It could be somebody who's coming out of hospital. It could be an older person who has no network. How can we be curious about whatever I'm seeing or hearing? It might be somebody shouting, a young person who has locked themselves out of the house and they don't know how to handle it and they're shouting. What else is going on for that person? What else is going on for that person? And just do something, whether that's a case of just a little bit of advice, or it might be a hug, or it might be it's okay. What can you do that can make a tiny bit of difference to someone's day? Because I think that will be a trickle effect in terms of if that next person then does something else. And Dem, you say about paying that forward is
that's
so
what
massive.
I was gonna say.
100%.
100%. Like you've both just said, it's about being compassionate, caring, having that understanding, and everything the vision's about. But a message to everyone. I feel like we all need to not give up on each other.
I love that, Josh.
We need to keep trying to make safer communities, better communities, stronger communities.
I love it.
And I feel like we are going in that direction.
Yeah,
I know other people don't feel like that.
Yeah.
But let's get out your house. Let's take that first step, which can be the hardest step.
100%.
Get involved in community. Is it volunteering one day a month?
I love that.
Is it something that's personal to you? Because again, we've all got different experiences.
Helping your neighbour, doing something like when I picked you up, one of our families has moved close to your house, literally outside cleaning the car, and we went round and they invited us to their first meal in their new house. And actually those little things about just being part of a community instead of kind of being in our isolated
and sometimes it can be easier to isolate yourself because that's your safe space.
Yeah, definitely.
But it can also be your worst enemy, so don't be getting in there too much. I think the thing that we really need to focus on in the future is being there for our children, but also getting to know them a little bit more, see what's underneath that mask, see what it is that
Dig a
they're
little
screaming.
deeper.
Yeah, dig a little deeper, dig a little
Yeah.
deeper with Demi. Way.
So if I just kind of wrap us up in
Yeah.
terms of it's just been incredible for our first podcast, our bellies were going like,
oh, I know, do you know what? I really enjoyed it.
But actually, in terms of some of those key moments of dig a little deeper, don't give up on each other.
Yeah.
Some of those moments are so powerful for us all to maybe take into our next week, take into our next day. And actually the vision about attached to our kind of brand in terms of the vision is vision with action can change the world. So what does that vision look like for you? Where do you want to go? Where do you want to kind of achieve? Who do you want to support? And actually what can you do, like Josh said, to take that little bit of a step, that little bit of an action, even if it is just getting yourself out of that house, even if it is supporting one organisation or one person. What can we do to kind of support each other? And that very much feels like it's in sync with Care Experience Month and celebrating children and young people and adults in the community overall. So thanks so much.
And don't forget to love yourself.
Yes, Demi.
We love you.
And subscribe.
Thank you so much for joining us. It's just been an incredible first podcast and our bellies were going, ah! However, we've just absolutely enjoyed each other's company, but also your company. So thank you for joining us on The Vision, the podcast. See you all soon.
I can't believe we just
I can't believe we just did that.
Hope is the road you're walking. Trust is the door you're knocking. Sleep with both eyes closed now, safe. We got your back now. Tomorrow is an open book. Your joy is the oath we took. Invisibility for you is at an end. Breathe, you've got friends. We are the vision.